Welcome to What's in the Box, episodes of horror with Donna and Eric. I'm Donna,
And I'm Eric.
and tonight we have with us Candace, Nola, and Mike Ennenbach. And we are going to celebrate Mike today because his book Cuckoo comes out on Friday, September 1st. And he just had a book of poetry that was released. What was the name of that one, Mike?
Unbroken.
Unbroken just came out. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We love hanging out with you guys.
Hello, hello.
As you guys can see, I have the beautiful cover of Cuckoo up as my background. I absolutely love that cover.
Yeah,
Me
she's
too.
mastered the backgrounds. She's always got on point now
Yeah.
since Texas AuthorCon.
Yeah, kind of
Credit
sad
where
doesn't show the title, but
That's all right. Credit where credit's due, though. So I had basically the entire idea of that cover. Actually, I had the entire idea, and it's been in my head for 2 years. And then it goes to dawn, and Rain jumps in, and she says, the bird should be upside down. And I could not understand what she meant. It made no sense to me. And I just kept saying no because it sounded so stupid. And then she convinced Candace to have Don to do that. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, the bird needed to be upside down the whole time. Well, that just makes sense. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a beautiful cover. And it's funny because I was looking at the cover because I posted, on Instagram, and I'm looking at the cover and I'm like, where the heck is his name? Like I couldn't find your name on the book cover, and then finally after I was done and I looked at it for the 100th time, I saw your name up in the ribbon. So it's like, oh, okay.
That was a point of contention for quite a bit there. I think that was a couple days of fighting where I did not want my name on the cover whatsoever. Like I finally agreed because I thought the idea of the ribbon was okay, but I did not want that.
But we
But-
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I like it in the ribbon. It looks really good. I get your point, though. I know that you want to keep it as clean as possible and not muddy it up with any of that stuff. So,
Well, I think
I'm
it's
sure
it's
if you could figure it out how to do it without a title, you would have done that too. So.
yeah, but
Oh,
I think it's great because it's very what's the word I'm looking for? Not easily seen, so it is kind of like it's not even there.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
And
Yeah.
he only agreed to have that after we agreed to do it in the typewriter font.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you got to stay with the brand, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
That's great. So
Is
I
there any
guess
way we could pull that up, the cover with the four of us, or I'm not sure how the meeting thing works.
oh,
You
let
and I,
me
when we
see.
do it, does it kill it? I don't know if it kills the screen or not.
Yeah, I'll have to share my screen, but I think I can't. Yeah, so here's the beautiful cover with the upside down bird down here. It's a little titmouse or tit. Is it a titmouse? Is that the technical
No, it's yellow tit.
yellow tit? Yeah. Now, that was its name
Mhm.
in the book. Now, which I really like that. I
Yeah,
love
the distressed cover, everything about it works really well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very eye-catching.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
We had the clean version, which I loved, and it's very vibrant. And then we had the version that was distressed. And I remember I was torn, and the person I was with, I said, which one? And she looked at me and she said, well, is the story distressed? And I was like, well, distressed it is then.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't have a clean cover with the story inside it. It
No.
really
Not
needs
really,
it.
no.
So
Yeah.
when you go to get your copy, you're gonna know from that cover what it's gonna give you a hint of what's about to come. You're not gonna really know until you dive into it. But this is the perfect representation, I think.
And there's a lot of secrets hidden there.
Yeah, and that'll be fun too when you're done reading it. Flip it back, go look at the cover, see if you can put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
Now, how hard was it, and who wrote on the back of a book? Every book has a blurb on the back. How hard was it to write something to put on the back of the book that wouldn't give anything away? Because I really think after reading this, you need to just open the book and start reading. You can't know anything about it.
It was Mike's. It was all Mike.
But even that, it's a very short blurb, and it doesn't.
It's just enough.
Yeah, yeah. Mike does a really good job of blurbs. He
I don't
gets to the
think
point.
the
Yes,
key
we
to
know.
it is they say, hey, we need this, and if you think you put too many extra words in there. So all I did was I went with the exact feeling of the book because I knew I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So I thought if I talk about exactly how it feels, then at least you have some indication of what you're in for.
Yeah, and to everybody watching, I think you should be warned before we get too deep into this. Is we're not going to really talk about too much. You're not going to know what this is about by the end, I
Yeah.
don't think. But I think you will understand
Yeah.
how we all come away from reading the book and why you should read it too.
Yep.
As he gets embarrassed and the screen goes dark.
Yeah, but it's so what is it about?
About 300 pages. Was that it?
311.
There you go.
Oh goodness, it's
And
a real book.
It
yeah,
didn't feel like 300 pages.
it's
No?
311. And looking at this now, just looking at the cover, and I'm looking at the blurb of it too, but also I'm coming very fresh off of the edits and the formatting. So I've been immersed in this for like the last month, and let me tell you, there hasn't been a night that I've not burst into tears. Just doing edits and looking over it page by page, like fixing the formatting and adjusting it. There are pieces in here that I just would read and they just they just strike you in such a way that the tears just flow. Like this one hurts.
Yeah, and I think it's going to do that
Yeah.
with everyone, but differently. So I
Mhm.
think
Yeah.
everybody's going to connect with this story in a different
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You may not totally connect to it on the love story path, but you
Right.
might connect with some of the other issues that are throughout the book. Some of the characters
Yeah.
some of the characters, I mean, it felt
Mhm.
like I knew most of the people in this
Yeah.
story, no matter what perspective I was within the tale. You could find places and see reflections of people you have known your entire life, and it's just
Exactly.
one of these books that pulls you in and keeps you on the path and make sure that you know even when you don't know what's going on, you know that you want to go forward. This isn't a book that you're going to lose interest reading.
No,
Right.
definitely not. Especially if you're a fan of Haruki Murakami.
Mhm.
Totally flavors of Murakami in this book. I've only read one. I've only read the Wind Up Bird Chronicle, but I really enjoyed it, and I could see that influence
Oh yeah.
And
in
Yeah.
so the
this book.
question is, was that an influence, Mike? Or what were some of the writers that influenced you? Maybe not in this specific book, but if you want to use the specific book, but in the way you do write and the stuff you like to talk about.
Everything inspires me. But so this was not meant to be a book. This was a trial. This was an experiment. I was reading, I don't know, I fell into this rabbit hole of Eastern European absurdists from like the 1890s through the early 1900s, and they were absolutely terrible writers. I mean, they were plays, one person plays. It was just little tiny, not even short stories, paragraphs. But every now and then, there would be this line that was just perfect. And it was so strange because the writing was atrocious, but the line was just like magical. And I got asked to do the NaNoWriMo. I guess I don't know what is that. That would be 2000? No, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
2020.
month thing? The month the
Yeah,
writing a
no,
book
Yeah, where
thing?
you're supposed to do. Yeah,
yeah. supposed to write a novel in like a month.
So I got challenged by a friend to do that, and I thought that I would do something, and I called it The Prison. And in my head, The Prisoner had three parts that I knew for sure. There was the prison, there was war, and there was a part that I called Fable. And I knew these three parts were, this was basically the story. That it was all I had was he was a prisoner, there was war, there was the fable. And I knew that I wanted one of them, his name's Krizanovsky. It's a very, very Russian name. He had the idea that if it's fiction, everything can be true and still be fiction because that's what the power of words. And I thought, okay, so can you do an unreliable narrator that knows he's unreliable, but also every single word that he is saying, as far as he is concerned, is the absolute truth? And then, I don't know, I started writing and the love story came into it, and all of a sudden I had an ending, and it wasn't just three sections. It ended up being 7 unique narratives woven together.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah.
Murakami is always part of it, but like I was saying before, there's a cult of Kafka. And if you really get into Murakami, what you realize is he is one of the big ones. He and Bukowski, like when they cite who really inspired them, it goes back to Franz. And I think that no matter what I do, there's always going to be a part of that because I just love subverting the expectation of what you think a story should be and doing what I want to do with it. And I feel like Franz is the one who gave everybody that ability to just be weird.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that was like a monologue.
There you go.
That's all right. This is your show.
Well, no,
You
it's
wanna-
just, it's been 2 years I've been sitting on this.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, and I don't know if other people understand that Candace is here because she is the Uncomfortably Dark is the publisher, and she's
The
been
reason.
behind the scenes too, and so I think this is a project that she's helped bring to life as you've got to the point where you're ready to release it. Because I know you had
No.
sent it out before to some other people to look at, and then now you've decided to kind of publish it this way.
Well, I mean, she's asked basically since it was finished, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it pretty much as he wrote it, and I wanted it then from the first word. But I also knew that he wanted it out there, and I hadn't quite made the decision to become a publisher just yet, but this made me want to move ahead with that simply so I could publish this and have it out because the moment I read the first page, the first part, I was like, this needs to be out. People will say things like masterpiece, brilliant, all of those types of words. But when I was through with this, and this was before we did any editing, any revisions, the first word that I text him, I think, was "This is your masterpiece." There's no other word. It's brilliant. It's one of those stories that every author out there comes across at some point in their lifetime, and they're like, damn it, I wish I had written that. I wish I had that mindset or those words or that talent to string those words together in that type of way to make that story what it is. And this is one of those stories.
Yeah, no,
It
actually, I
makes
don't know.
you think it makes you wish that you had been the one to write it.
Yeah, but I'm
It's
thinking that's the
brilliant.
only kind. Mike's the only one that can write this story.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's the main
Mhm.
point. Is I
Yes.
don't see too many. I can see people trying to do this,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure anybody but Mike could do this.
No.
Not
No.
not the way he was able to go through the entire thing. I can see parts of this being written by other people, but I don't see the entire picture being able to be put together the way it is without
No.
Mike doing it.
No, because you need his particular outlook on life and you need his emotions in this. This is an emotion driven story. Without Mike in the particular way that he views our world and the way he views his own emotions, the story would not exist the way that it exists now. Without Mike, you don't have this.
You
You
also
might
need,
come close, you might get
yeah.
something kind of like it, but you don't have this.
Well, you also need to have Mike's ability to not care when it comes to being honest. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he doesn't have that pause. You know,
No.
right, Mike? You like
Filter.
to say
Yeah.
it. You like to say you're honest. This
Right.
is
No,
it.
it's absolutely true.
This is an honest book in the
It's
way that you are
brutal.
going to come away from it, and you're going to know, you know, feelings and
Yep.
perspectives that you would say are unique to the writer.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't read it. When I finished it, it went away
Yeah.
and it just sat. And then once people started reading it, Megan was one of the first to tell me that she'd finished it. And she said it was intimate and it felt like something that she didn't know if she should have been reading. And I didn't realize that it was that way.
Yeah. It's like a look straight into who you are.
Well, yeah, and well, not the problem, but I think the reason that happens is because some of it is first person narrative,
It is.
and it is such a relaxed first person that you are immediately thinking like she was, that you're reading a journal less than a piece of
Mhm.
fiction. And so as you go through it, it's so easy, I think, for a reader to get lost in the idea that they're reading fiction if they as you get immersed, and you have no choice, you're going to be immersed. It pulls you down, you know,
Yeah.
and under the water. You're going to be under the water in this one, and held down for a little while. So you have a choice. You know, you can struggle and fight and miss some of it, or you can just relax and just let the water in. So there you go.
Yep.
Yeah. It's it feels that way, I think, also because if you know him, for all of us that know Mike, and he's very open about this online. Mike has his personality quirks, and he is bi bipolar. And if you don't know by now that I stutter, well, you're welcome.
Mhm.
This is written completely from Mike's point of view as someone that has bipolar um, issues, and that whole point of view comes out in the way the story is written. That's why it feels so intimate, I think, and so true to who Mike is because it's written from that unique point of view that not everyone has. And you really get to see what that mindset is like and how that point of view can affect the mindset that you have of everything around you. And all of that, he puts all of that into the way this story is written. It's all there, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, there is so much of Mike in the book Even I know that and I don't know him half as well as you and Eric do. I think people who know Mike will get different things from this book than those who don't, just like some random stranger who picks it up off of Amazon. Not saying that it's going to, make the impact of the book any less.
Oh no,
I
no.
think knowing Mike makes the impact of the book more, if that makes
More,
sense.
more. But even if you do not, you know somebody like Mike. You know somebody like him. Your family contains somebody like him. One of your friends is like him. You yourself may be like him. This will speak to you on multiple levels, whether you are like him or not, whether you have these same issues or not. Like Eric already said, you will find something in this that will hit home with you on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all there.
Yep, absolutely.
So
while we're embarrassing Mike, we might as well embarrass him a little bit more.
might as well say some more.
Yeah, so we have some
We have some baby pictures of Mike.
well,
I won an award.
Hey, you got that one without pants?
I was cutest baby. I was just like a sailor.
I believe
now
it.
I need this. I need these pictures.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
So, just like with any book or most books, there's ARC readers out there who got a copy of it. And I was afraid you'd be mad that Eric sent it to me.
I told him to.
Okay.
I didn't just blindly send it. I didn't get yelled at either. But I knew he would say yes because, he's always nice about stuff like that. And you are one of Mike's favorites. I don't know if you know that. But he's
I
always
did not know that.
He's always talking nicely and defending
Yes.
and yelling at you when you try and pretend like you're not a writer and things of that nature. So
yes, he does. So
and
we
Candace was smart. She was smart with it when it went to people to read. She didn't tell me because I wouldn't have been able to handle the anxiety of that. And then when I found out people were reading it, that really got me. So it was lose-lose.
So Rachel Schomer, I hope I said your last name right, Rachel, if you're watching. Schomer. She posted her review on Facebook shortly before we started recording, and part of her review said, "There's a lot I could say about this book, but I feel like knowing more gives it away, and this is best read without any preconceived notions or ideas of what is going to be. Just buckle up and enjoy the ride to the top of your favorite reads of 2023. I agree with that. She also said in another part of her review that it made her feel stupid sometimes. And I agree with that. And I felt the same way reading Murakami. I felt like I wasn't intelligent enough to be reading this story sometimes. No, that's not a bad thing.
Well, that's one thing. He's not spoon feeding you, and a lot of stuff nowadays, television, movies, books, they really go out of their way to make sure you understand, over explain everything. So it's actually refreshing to read something where you might have to get to the end to finally put all the pieces together.
Exactly.
I made a conscious decision when I was doing it that it had to be told the way that it had to be told. And I knew that in doing that might make it challenging or it might turn people off. But if you don't do what the story says, you're doing the story a disservice. And the story said that it had to be that way.
Yep. John Watson, who is a wonderful author himself, said that Cuckoo is a blend of poetry, prose, and pain, all tossed into a pot and left to simmer on low until it inevitably burns and leaves an indelible mark. In short, it is a work of absolute genius. And I agree with that as well.
Yep.
And then we have Eric Butler here. His review.
Yeah, well, I have two. So the first one I sent him in a chat was just said it's fine. So, just in case,
Ennenbach shows off his storytelling prowess with his newest release, Cuckoo. He gives the reader a truly unique story that somehow feels familiar in all the right ways. While this page turner defies being placed in a single genre, at its heart, Cuckoo is a love story, just not the one you'd expect. A must-read book for 2023. So how does that make you feel, Mike?
I think we can tell.
Yeah, no, I was like, I don't know if everybody's picking up on that. My phone's going crazy.
Oh no.
No, I'm just saying
Something happened?
somebody keeps doing stuff, so I'm hoping it's not picking up on the sound. So trying
No,
not to
I
draw
don't.
attention to it, and it would stop. So
Yeah, I don't
Fine.
think.
I don't know. It's so weird. Like I said, it's been hidden for so long. It's so strange. I'd kind of lost track of it. All I remembered was bits and pieces of it. There were just fragments, and in my head it was disjointed and it didn't work. So I guess I just never read it. And then when it went to Mary to get edited, she said that I had to read it, and she was right. I needed to, and I was pleasantly surprised with where it went. I'm glad that other people were happy with where it went. I don't know. Subjective, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's going to be people out there that are going to not like it,
Oh, I stay away from reviews for that reason.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, good reviews are just as bad as bad reviews. Bad reviews make you bitter. Good reviews give you an ego. I just want to write.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a book you should be proud of. It's 300 pages, and it took me 2 days to read it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely one of those books where I kept going back to it. And it didn't feel like I was sometimes when we do the book, when you and I talk about books and stuff, I feel like, boy, this is like worse than a homework assignment, and we're struggling to get through these books and stuff. But this one
Yeah.
wasn't like that at all. I was pushing other things out of the way to get to it and read it. So it's a fun read. And like I said, it's so multi-genre
Yeah.
that you're gonna have a good time, even though he doesn't consider it, I would say at any point, I still think this is gonna be a hit with horror readers. It's not extreme horror or anything like that, but it's definitely got an underlying sense of dread and horror throughout the whole thing, and it's executed really well.
Yep.
Patrick has said since the beginning, like I've only ever called it a love story, but Patrick has said since the very, very beginning that he thought it was a horror story.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those that it's there, but it doesn't really hit you until the end. That's when everything clicks and everything falls into place, and the horror of it, the reality of what you just read really hits you then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
And like I like to say, everything is horror, and this is one of those books that helps you prove that statement.
It does.
I'm gonna buy Mike a bunch of old-fashioned donuts.
Oh, they are my favorite.
Yeah,
Yes,
they are really good. Now on top of Cuckoo, you had the poetry book come out.
Yeah.
With I can't think of Rivers Company.
Potter's
What's
Grove.
it? Yeah,
Potter's Grove.
And so people can get an idea, also a very unique and intimate look inside Mike's head if you go read his poetry.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big poetry person, but Mike's one of those people that even people that aren't fans of poetry will enjoy reading. So
yeah. And there's a lot of it out there. I think Unbroken made book number 7, Mike. Is that right?
Poetry. 6 for collection.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is insane.
And the cover was designed by who?
Maya Dene. I'm so proud of her. That's my daughter.
Yeah.
She's done the last 3 covers, and
they're
she's
amazing.
And she's
as
already
good
on
as
the
the
idea for
poetry
the
is, the covers are always better. So.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, because the first
they're amazing.
2 were Don Noble. So, I mean, like, I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. Look at that smile.
Yeah, he's trying to will himself to like what was it on the flash vibrate so he can just disappear through the floor?
I'm gonna phase. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
you're gonna
phase
phase
out
through
of
the floor and get out of here.
He's like, we done talking about me yet.
No.
I think that was one of the reasons why Cuckoo, I was happy to not have to have it out there, was because when it clicked, I kind of realized, like, when a story's going well, like as a writer, you just know, like you're like, okay, I can really feel this. And I knew, despite how brutal it was, and I quite literally wrote the last pages of it sobbing. It was very difficult. I could not see. My thumbs are trained very well for the phone though, so they were able to pull it off. But I knew at the end of it that it was, at least there was nothing else like it. And that made me
And it's true.
Mhm. Well, one of the things I liked about this book was there wasn't a single character that I hated. It seems like almost in every book you read, you hate at least one character, usually the bad guy.
What about the
Um,
twins?
No, the twins, I
Ooh,
mean, they served a purpose,
Yeah.
that's
you know?
The twins were exactly who they were supposed to be. And I didn't hate them.
No.
Like,
Yeah, they don't
I
come
knew what
across
they
as
were and I knew why they were there and they were a crucial part of it, but I didn't hate them.
yeah.
Like, I understood why they were there
Yeah.
eventually, because at first you don't, but then it all clicks. But yeah, there wasn't anything about this that I was like, oh, that guy, or
Yeah.
no, it was,
Just like
Yeah.
with the guards and the doctor.
Yeah.
Was it 11121 was his number? Was
mhm,
that his number?
12111.
12111.
12111.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so the characters, they may be unlikable, but none of them were unrelatable,
Yeah.
and therefore, they all, like you said, serve a purpose.
Yeah.
But you could have, well, you couldn't have easily have, but you, as a reader, I can see we could follow the twins. You could have had a twins as the main characters, and we watched their perspective,
Yeah.
and see how they were reacting to all the other characters and how they perceived the main character.
I never
So,
even
Yeah.
considered that.
yeah, there's a lot of fun things with this. You're gonna come away from this book and you will be thinking about different things. I think every person's gonna have a different experience, and it's all gonna be one that people will enjoy going through. It's not gonna be something where you felt like you were gypped or anything. You know what I mean? This is a
Yeah, it's
good read.
not going to be a waste of your time on any level.
Mhm.
There's something that you will like about it, no matter what you read or what you like to read. There are parts of this you may hate. There are parts of this that may hurt you in ways you don't expect. And there are parts of this that hurt you in a really nice way because there are things in here that we have all felt and have wanted and have thought about. This is a very, very human book.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's the entire range of the human experience. Every emotion you could have, every thought you might have, it is a very human book. I don't think I've ever read anything like it, ever.
I think the other thing that's really good about this book is that you could easily immediately start reading it again
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and discover something different, or
Yep.
maybe see it in a different way, simply for what's going around you personally. So
Yep.
especially if you were to wait and read it, say 6 months, a year later, reread it,
Mhm.
I bet you get a totally different thing from it.
Yeah.
I consider the end of it to be the Rosetta Stone. And once you've got that knowledge of the ending of it, every bit of the story, the real story, is there.
Yeah.
Every single bit of it. It was all there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
You just didn't know what you were looking for. And I feel like once you get to the very end and once you read the words the end, if you go back to the beginning again, it's a completely different experience because now you know.
Yeah, you know. And that's sort of the genius of it too. It takes until that last page for everything to really hit you and to really click. And it's a mind-blowing experience by the time you get to the end of this. I just kind of sat and just cried for a little bit. Like, what the hell? It just hits you that last page, everything just really clicks and it just kind of leaves you stunned. I don't think I've had a reaction like that to a book in a really long time. So
Yeah. So Mike, thank you for writing it and sharing it with us.
yeah.
Because it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's
So
fine.
let's talk
Yeah,
about
it's
your
fine.
poetry. No.
Oh,
Much better.
So I think we've tortured Mike enough, so we're gonna let him off the hook
We've
right
embarrassed
now.
him plenty. So
Yeah.
hey Mike, what else you want to talk
So make
about?
sure
What's
you
coming
send
up
him
this
stuff on
year?
Facebook and Twitter. Post as
Yeah.
much positive
Well,
things towards him.
hold on. I don't want to forget though. There's the nursery rhymes for crotch goblins is coming out on the 29th, and that's
Tomorrow.
the mom anthology.
Yeah.
And I've got a poem in there, and there's oh my god, I like Keen and Lee, and I don't remember Stockton.
Jay
So
Wilburn.
many. Yeah.
Ruth Ann's in it. Yeah, there's so many people. It's going to be brilliant, and every penny of that goes to charity.
Yep.
So don't forget that that's coming, and then real soon we've got Bradanomicon 2 coming from Potter's Grove.
Right.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I'm
So
reading
just
Crotch
coming out soon.
Goblins.
Oh,
I'm
are
reading,
you?
Yeah. Yeah, James sent it to me. So it's pretty good.
He sent it to me like a month ago, and then I sent back, and I only had one note, and I said, "There's no dot." So he had to go back and take the dot
No
out.
dot.
That just made me so happy.
After the M.
Yeah, I'm just so anal
There's no
about
God
that.
after the end.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, so-
ridiculous.
So check out Mike. We'll have links to Cuckoo, which releases September 1st,
Yeah.
as well as Unbroken, or probably just his Amazon author page, so you can check out all his work, because you do
Okay.
have a splatter Western out there as well.
Mhm.
So you can
And
check out
Bishop
all.
2 and
Bishop
Generator.
2,
Yeah,
Generator.
Yep.
Bishop 3 will start working on this winter, so that'll be out in
Soon.
March.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
there's
we
gonna be
have
some
that
fun
in the
stuff coming
works.
out in 2024. So
Mhm. Yeah.
there's gonna be fun stuff coming out in 2024.
Eric and I have 2
long list.
projects.
Yeah.
Nice.
Woo.
And I think we're all going to be at Texas AuthorCon again next year.
We're gonna be at AuthorCon
Oh, you're coming
30 in
down there?
Williamsburg.
Yeah, we'll definitely be at the one in Williamsburg,
Yeah, I'll be
Virginia.
in Williamsburg. Yeah.
Are we all in St. Louis too? I think we're all there. You're not there?
No.
We'll meet Eric and Michael there next year also, and I think we're all going to Knoxville.
Yep.
Yes.
Tennessee. Yeah, we'll all be
Yep.
in Tennessee.
TBR
so-
Con.
We'll be all over the place, and we'll have all Mike's books, including this one and Dream Whispers and Bishop and
Cremated Remains will be for some of
Cremated
them.
Remains will be out. Yep.
Bring him a taco. He likes
Bring,
taco.
bring him all
I
the
won't
tacos.
eat it, but Nettie or
Make
Eric
him
will
make
steal
him
it.
stand when you order the taco outside with you. but
Yeah,
don't
there we
give it
go.
to
I make
him.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
just
Make
put
a
the
placeholder.
tacos in Eric's pockets.
that's right. I'll hold them for later. That way everybody gets fed.
All right. Well, we will see you all on the next episode. And thank you, Mike. Thank you, Candace, for joining us. This has
Yeah.
been fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And congratulations, Mike. It's gonna be a good
Yes.
release.